book of First Corinthians. I want to read verses 1 through 12 in chapter 10. For I do not want you to be unaware, brethren, that our fathers were all under the cloud and all passed through the sea, and all were baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea. And all ate the same spiritual food, and all drank the same spiritual drink, for they were drinking from a spiritual rock which followed them, and the rock was Christ. Nevertheless, with most of them, God was not well pleased, for they were laid low in the wilderness. Now, these things happened as examples for us, so that we would not crave evil things as they also craved. Do not be idolaters, as some of them were, as it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and stood up to play. Nor let us act immorally, as some of them did, and 23,000 fell in one day. Nor let us try the Lord, as some of them did, and were destroyed by the serpents, nor grumble, as some of them did, and were destroyed by the destroyer. Now these things happened to them in an example, and they were written for our instruction, upon whom the ends of the ages have come. Therefore, let him who thinks he stands take heed that he does not fall. So, excuse me. Um, I think Paul makes a lot of references to the Israelites. In particular, I think he makes references, a lot of it, to their traveling, their exodus from Egypt, heading to the Promised Land. Um, the uh, the walking through water, the baptism with Moses. To me, I'm pretty sure that's them, walking through the Red Sea, because they were actually under the sea level when they did that. Um, that was their salvation. That was their escape from the Egyptians, because as soon as they crossed over and Moses has, stepped back over, Pharaoh's army was drowned instantly because the sea collapsed back on them. But I mean, God provided them with food. He provided them with water, gave them protection. I mean, he did everything for them, and they all got the same. Every single one of them got the same thing, but yet there was many of them who either made a false god and worshipped it while Moses was away. They would complain or grumble about what they were being provided with by the Lord, or they just did despicable things in the eyes of God. And every single time, God disciplined and punished them. And in a lot of cases, that punishment was death. I mean, you got Korah and his whole family and his counterparts who tried to um, get everybody to go back to Egypt, was, swallowed up by the earth, you know, and killing them instantly. And it wasn't just Korah; it was his entire family. So our our actions can affect our generations down the way. So these are examples that Paul gives us to kind of help us make sure that we don't make those same mistakes. We grumble against God, and all this is in an effort to. Sorry, all of this is in an effort to to help us learn from the mistakes of the past, and to set us up to following a path of righteousness, to following Jesus Christ. Um, because if we think we're all there, we're all that, we're setting ourselves up to fall and to take a big fall. Because when we start doing that, that's where pride likes to creep in. Satan likes to trickle little things of pride or whatever, and we've got to bear that in mind, and we can't be so naive that we can't succumb to temptation or complaining or or whatever it is that God doesn't want us to do, because it can happen to even the most devoutful person. Um, and so all these mistakes that Israel made are set as examples, as warnings for what could happen to us if we disobey God. And when we learn from these examples and from these mistakes that they made back then, that helps us with our faith and our following of our lives in Christ. Because Christ is our salvation. Christ has become our Red Sea. He he pulls us through, and then he collapsed his blood upon the transgressions and sins that we make and washes them away. Um, but we just need to remember the things, the mistakes that were made by our ancestors, the Israelites in the past, so that we can learn from them and so that we can better follow Christ and obey God and live a life that is worthy of that we were meant to have with Christ in us. With that, thank you guys. Have a blessed day, and we'll see you tomorrow.